Hey guys, Savage Joy here with Real Progressives. That feels so effing good to say. It's been 2 weeks and I am going through withdrawal. Let me just type my name here because it didn't pop up for some reason. Maybe I forgot how to do this because it's been 2 weeks. It's bananas because I've done 3 to 8 shows every week for about a year. So it's been, really sad to go on this hiatus. Um, for those of you guys who don't know, I've been going through a lot of medical problems, serious ones. So I was on a little hiatus. Technically, I still am. But I wanted to do a quick show because a lot of the viewers are, messaging me and saying, you've interviewed more candidates than anyone in independent media like ever. I don't know if that's true. I think it quite possibly could be. As a sole interviewer, not a show. But this week is the last week of primaries, which is kind of sad because I've made it my life for almost a year. I love what I do. I can't believe I get to do it. It's amazing. The candidates I've had on, like some of the people I've scored, I don't get it. It's pretty crazy to me why, actual congressmen would come in my show when it's obviously filmed in a spare bedroom for literally zero budget. And so it's been pretty amazing. My first guest ever was Mr. Tim Canova, who, most of us absolutely adore. And it was funny because I said to a guy I met, hey, do you think he was, volunteering for Tim's campaign? And I was like, do you think he'd come on my show? And the guy said, yeah, I'll ask him. Well, at that point, I didn't exactly have a show. I had started working, volunteering with RP behind the scenes as a recruiter. And all of a sudden, I was like, holy shit, I think I just scored Tim Canova. I better create a show. So that's what I did. And I told him the next day that he was the first interview I've ever done in my life. And he was so kind and so gracious and, was very sweet about it. And then he came back on 2 weeks ago on the 1 year anniversary of when I had him on the first time. And, here's the thing about Tim Canova. Okay, so like I said, I've been very sick. I had a supporter actually create a GoFundMe for me against my wishes, but she did, and there were 3 candidates who donated to it, and one of them was Tim Canova, and I think that says so much about a person that that's very kind. They don't have to do that. It was also Ryan Ross and Sarah Smith. It's just so amazing. It's like, I do an interview with these people and they've done what, hundreds, yet they still do, something so kind. It's very humbling. I digress. But yeah, I mean, before I forget, I really, really, really just want to thank all of the viewers who have contributed to that. I'm not even going to say how much it raised because it's just I can't wrap my head around it. It's just I can't fathom. It's been amazing, all of your support, all of the love, the excitement to get me back, and the messages I'm receiving, like, when are you gonna be back? it's been amazing. It's felt awesome, because this, in a lot of ways, this is a thankless job. I mean, this is all volunteer. None of us get paid. I actually spend money, because I, so often cover things out of state. I buy the hotels, I buy the train tickets, things like that. So, not only do we not make money, we actually take, um, part of our, most of us work full time on top of this. So I'd be like doing 8 shows during heavy primary weeks, and like still be working 40 hours a week at work. So it's a lot of work, it's a lot of dedication. An hour show with a candidate, I likely have done at least 2-3 hours of research for that 1 hour show. So it's a lot of work, but it is so gratifying, and it is so worth it when get messages like, I had never heard of this candidate and they happen to be in my district. It's freaking awesome. Or, it's also awesome to see people you've interviewed and really connected with move on to the general. In the same time, it's also very heartbreaking to really just adore a candidate and say, damn, I really wish I could vote for them. And then 21% of the state shows up. It's a lot to handle. I'm in kind of a unique situation because I do really connect with a lot of my candidates. I really do. Because for those of you who have seen my show, you guys know I get more into the psychological effect of things. I don't just say, what do you stand for? But I say, why do you stand for that? What made you put that on your platform? What inspired you to do that? How'd you grow up? What was your family like? I mean, things like that. That's what interests me. I tell all of my guests I am not a journalist. I'm a voter and an activist. And honestly, like, candidates have been so awesome, for, overall, but there have been a few like, what the fuck? This girl, what? She just says her mind. This is, whoa. And you know what? Like, honestly, it's not my fault you didn't research me first. I'm just going to put it right out there. You should research the people you're doing an interview with. If you didn't, and they call me Savage Joy, what the hell you think I'm going to be like? I mean, come on. Like, this is not going to be something easy. I love the how supportive people have been about my style. People can see the trite, affected questions anywhere, but I want to know these things that nobody else has the balls to ask. I've had some really Savage Joy moments that stand out in my mind from my very first show. It was with Tim Canova, and at that point he was running, and he was much more shy in a way about the whole Debbie Wasserman Schill thing. I think he was kind of feeling the waters at that point. And, he's like, well, she's already out raising me. And I said to him, yeah, she's probably using the money she stole from us. And he just kind of like went like this and turned like a little red. And I was like, holy shit. Like, and after that, I'm just like, yo, I'm going to keep doing this shit because it's funny as hell. So then I had Congressman Rocano on, and I accidentally dropped the F-bomb. And then for some weird reason, he came back on my show a second time, which was very weird. He texted me the next day and said how much he enjoyed it. A lot of times they just say it's refreshing to talk to, somebody real. But I digress. So that's why this show is so fun for me. I've learned so much. I mean, out of, I've done over 90 candidates, which is just crazy to me. And they've been from all over the country. They are from, I believe I counted almost 30 states that I've done candidates for. So that's like, it's an honor, honestly, because when you're campaigning, your time is so limited, especially because a lot of, as we know, a lot of grassroots candidates still work full time. We're a bunch of basement dwellers. We don't have money to just like quit our job and campaign. So for them to take their time and spend an hour with me to, talk about what their, what their campaign is, especially when, what are the chances that these few thousand views are people in their district? Not too likely. So it means a lot that they do that. Out of the 90 something candidates, I've had, I think one of my favorites was Jeff Weaver. Jeff has a so he's got a reputation, and I wasn't the hugest fan. I didn't loathe him, but I wasn't the hugest fan before I met him, because unfortunately I started listening to what people were saying without receipts. And when I had the ability to interview him, literally probably one of the worst things that's ever happened to me in my entire life happened. I gave the absolute best interview I've ever given. And after an hour of me asking questions nobody else has ever asked him, I went to go get the camera and found out none of it recorded. That was the epitome of a nervous breakdown. Poor Jeff saw me like crying hysterically, like, oh my God, everybody's waiting for this. And it was so heartbreaking. And Jeff was so kind that he actually stayed after the event he was doing for the book tour and did it again, just because I felt so bad. I was just blown away by that kindness. I didn't ask him to. He just did. And I'm just like, damn, like it was just mind-blowing that someone would do that, something so nice, because mind you, I'm in Pennsylvania and the next morning he had to be in Virginia. So it's not like I've got time to kill. He did it because he felt bad and because he liked, what our discussion. So I've had moments like that where it's just like a complete tragic moment that turned into something so freaking amazing. I got to ask Jeff, even in the second one, I got to ask Jeff questions for Bernie supporters that nobody has ever been able to ask him. I got some closure from that. A lot of other burners got closure. It was amazing to be given that opportunity. I had an exclusive with Levy Sanders, Bernie's only biological child. Levy and I have become close over the past year or so. We've spent many hours on the phone, and he sounds just like Bernie, only with a lot of F-bombs thrown in. So he's definitely awesome. He, New Hampshire votes tomorrow. I really want people to go out and vote for Levy, not just because his dad is my hero, but because I've known Levy before he even announced. I know he's a lawyer and a public servant for those who have, little to no income, and he fights for we the people. I've known before he even announced that he's been fighting for Medicare for all. He's been fighting for water for the people in Flint. He's been fighting for free college. Like these are things he's been, going state to state talking about before he even announced. So, and I know this firsthand. That's, out of over 90 candidates, I've only endorsed 8, and Levy is one of them. So, tomorrow is going to be a huge deal. I think, and like many independent candidates, people are like, well, they have no experience. Well, you know what? That's okay, because as long as they don't take corporate money, they stand up for Medicare for all, they want a Green New Deal, these things, you know what? Bring it on, because I'd rather them any day. If they don't have experience, that means they're not corrupt yet. So I will embrace that. And, he may not have experience himself, but he grew up with like pretty much the most active statesman in the universe. For 40 years, his father has been running around the country like nonstop, doesn't even take lunch breaks. I mean, come on. He knows a lot about what goes on, more so than many, many, many candidates. So we have New Hampshire tomorrow. That's a big deal. We have New York on Thursday. Please don't vote for Cuomo. I'm just blown away between I don't know why I'm surprised. I don't know why any of us are surprised, but the New York Democratic Party and their, accusing Cynthia Nixon of being an anti-Semite, it's just absolutely disgusting. I haven't come out and actually endorsed Cynthia because I don't endorse people I haven't interviewed personally. But the thing is, I know, Laura, I caught that after I said it. Bad. That was not on purpose. But anyway, so, I haven't endorsed Cynthia because I haven't interviewed her, but also because I have a really hard time with someone coming out with a platform that is literally carbon copy of Bernie's, who fought nonstop for shill, primary and general. I have a really hard time with that because I know people can grow. I know people can move on, but that still sits in the back of my head. I still can't get it out of my mind that she dissed Bern and was like, pantsuit nation. And now all of a sudden her platform is like Bernie, carbon copy. And Hillary dissed her and endorsed Cuomo. Shocker, because they're like the same person. And Our Revolution endorsed her. So it's kind of like, you really did pick the wrong person. I mean, anyone who picked her did, but so anyway, so as far as one of the other amazing things I've gotten to do in this primary season is I got to do the first ever televised, or however you want to say it, the first ever Dem Enter, Dem Exit debate. And I did 2 of them. It was ridiculous. It was by far my highest viewed show. It was like 18,000 views. It was ridiculous. And it's a very contentious topic. It's something that I am definitely down with doing again, especially now towards the general. The general is not it's not as imperative to pick a party, because we can, I'm an independent, I can vote even though I'm in Pennsylvania and, it's a closed state, I can still, vote for whoever I want. But I think it's an important discussion, and I noticed that a lot of people have changed their feelings on it throughout as the months go by. I think that the more scary things get, the more people tend to compromise, which is pretty frustrating because we all have to look back and realize what we're fighting for. In 2016, I was, at Occupy DNC, I was banging on that fence and I was chanting, hell no, DNC, we won't vote for Hillary. And I didn't. And it felt damn good. And I will never regret that. So I will always remember the way that week felt, and how it's fueled me since then. If we just, surrender right now and say, yeah, we better just vote blue no matter who. Nah, no way. The only reason why people will, the Dem Party is not going to change if people keep saying vote blue no matter who. What that entails is you can still take corporate money. You can still, keep out progressives. You can still not go for Medicare for all. You can still totally, rig. You can, everything you're doing is okay because we're vote blue no matter who. That's what it means. I'm not okay with that. I like having people answer for what they've done. And I won't enable someone to kill democracy, which is what they've done. And when people are complacent with that, it's very scary because it wasn't their candidate. So, they don't really care. But to me, it's not even that, I worked for Bernie's campaign and stuff. It was just terrifying to see how easy it was to steal the primary and watch how many people really don't care. They just don't. Part of it's cognitive dissonance. Part of it is just really like, oh, well, Trump. And Trump is a symptom, not a disease. If Hillary won, there would be way too many people sitting on their asses. It'd be business as usual. People would not be fighting a millionth as hard as they are right now. Nobody would be talking about all the ponies we're talking about now. So he inadvertently did give us something. But anyway, something else I've learned is, since I did Dem exit at Occupy DNC in 2016, something else, that's always been, weighing on my mind is, why would someone run Democrat? If they're progressive, why? Why would you do that? Especially the Bernie delegates I interview. I'm like, wait, you were there too. How could you run in that party? I don't understand. Like, you're way too forgiving. I don't get that. But then the more interviews I did and the more states I dealt with, the more I realized just how, by design, states are set up so that certain people cannot run anything but Democrat or Republican. I have dealt with actual, candidates who have said, I hate the Democratic Party. It's not democratic. I never wanted to run this way. But if I don't and I want to run Indy, I have to raise $12,000 by the end of the month. Then I've had, someone say, I don't want to run as Democrat. But if I don't, I have to raise 5,000 signatures by the end of the month. These things are set up that way on purpose. And then what happens is people get really indignant and I won't vote for a Dem no matter what. Well, that's a dangerous way to put things because the fact of the matter is there's going to be some good candidates. And I don't have, I vote person, not party. I'm not going to vote for people because they're Dem, and I'm not going to not vote because they're Dem. I'm just going to vote for the people who don't take corporate money and stand for the things that I stand for. But there are people who swear off, Democrats regardless. That's your personal choice. But I encourage people to actually research what I'm saying and, look into how that state, actually runs their voting process, because you'd be surprised how many candidates were not able to run in the party they wanted to. And I've had a few candidates whose states don't acknowledge a third party. They didn't have that option. It was no raise this money, get these signatures. They literally didn't have an option. So it's important to have all the information before we just outright say, no, I'll never vote for them. You hear it all the time. You know what, Lance? I'm not playing. I say the same shit. Lance said, I want the Dems to come get my vote. And that's the damn truth. When Byrne said, it is incumbent on her to earn our votes, what did she do? Trash us continuously? Say she didn't need our votes? That didn't earn my vote. I mean, nothing would have, to be quite honest. But, they need to actually do something. The people, take California. This was heartbreaking. You have California, who is, one of the most progressive states, and 21% of Californians showed up to vote. 21%. We had the ability to have Stephen Jaffe, who is, I adore. He's a beautiful person. He's incredible. I've had him twice, but I've also met him in person and had many discussions with him. And we had the ability to have him, but we had 21% of the vote, 21% of eligible voters show up, and oh, look, we're stuck with Pelosi for, another however long, because she's never going to die. So she's like Hillary. She's just like they're the lizard people, and they don't die, like, ever. Not that I'm saying I want them to. But anyway, so it's a lot of it comes down to people being active. It's I promote these people left and right, and then I see, wow, only 5% of people showed up, and it's so disheartening. It's like, I understand you feel defeated. I get it. There are days when I'm like, you know what? I want to give up. People, are watching my show and they're still not going out and voting for these people, though, or things like that, or they're voting for people who they're not researching. They're voting for identity politics, or identity politics is something we're seeing a lot of. That's dangerous. That's how, essentially how everyone was able to rig the primaries in 2016, because vagina. So it bothers me when people are like, oh, the first woman and the first, no. Okay, that's an added bonus. That's not a reason to vote for someone. Let's look at their platform. Let's look at their donor history, because I hear the word progressive gets thrown around so much now, and I will post link after link. Look at who they took money from, and look at this, and look at that, and look how they voted last time. And people attack the F out of me for posting that shit. And I'm like, whoa, like, they can say they're progressive. They can say that. That means nothing to me. Nothing. And it shouldn't mean anything to anyone else. We have a duty to research candidates if we're going to vote for them, but not even just vote for them, if we're going to promote them. If I see one, so help me, if one more person sends me something with Beto O'Rourke, I am going to smash my computer. I swear I'm going to smash it. Yes, I saw his latest video, and I also saw how he campaigned for Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and I also saw his previous voting record, and I also saw all the money he's taken from corporations. So, no, that label is a trend, nothing more. So it's our job to actually look into this. I spent easily a good 2 hours on each candidate before I even asked them to come on my show. And then another 2 hours to research for the show. But I was very selective with who I asked on. I always asked, who'd you vote for in the primary? Because if you didn't vote for Bernie or Jill, like, I'm sorry, if you voted for Hillary in the primary, you're not a progressive. And, you know, if people had to, you know, if people were going to, if a candidate would have said to me, you know what, I voted for Hillary, but then I learned about Bernie, or then I became a progressive, I get that. People can change. I welcome that change. But nobody ever said that. I would just say, who'd you vote for? And they'd be like, Hillary. And I'd be like, thank you for your time. I mean, it's, you know, to me, that's, in the general, I don't give a shit who anyone voted for, because it was so jacked up and people were in a hostage situation. I wrote Bernie in, so I'm cool with that. Yeah, Mark, you're right. You're right. Beto is a neolib. But anyway, so, you know, the way people voted is contingent on, you know, what in the primaries, you could go with your heart. In the general, people felt pressured and forced and whatever. So if you have the option between someone who is truly progressive and truly fights for we the people every day, nonstop for 40 years, or the person who makes racist comments and takes countless dollars from, you know, Wall Street and has been, you know, lies more than like anyone in the universe, if you choose that over the other thing, then no, I don't want you on my show. You're not a progressive, unless, caveat, like I said, they've, you know, changed their opinion since then. And interviewing over 90 candidates, it's not like I've had a hard time finding people who fit that bill. You know, another thing, first thing I look at is, do they take corporate money? That is my absolute first thing. If you take $1 from corporations, you're not progressive. I don't care what your excuse is. No, you're not. I look at, do you support Medicare for all or universal health care? If you don't, not progressive. There's, you know, a list I go down. And, you know, these are just things that doesn't make you a progressive, but if you don't have them, it makes you not a progressive. If that makes, I don't know if that's going to translate to how it sounds in my head. But, you know, I think some of the other candidates that I've learned so much from, I've learned about a lot of the unjust things that still continue. Before I started my show, I thought such a large part of the cheating and everything was the DNC. And while it is, I've also learned so much about things which go on in other states and other cities across the country. My buddy Joe was the campaign manager for Trent in Georgia, Trent Nesmith. And Joe was on twice. Joe was showed up at a Dem meeting. He's a progressive. They didn't like him. Basically, long story short, because he was progressive, they felt like he was, you know, stirring shit up because he wanted to, you know, not obey and bow down to the establishment. They had him arrested for trespassing, even though he is a member and has gone there for years. Then they also served him. Then they literally sent him a letter stating he had to go through 7 years of psychological treatment and get an okay to come back to their meetings. And they sent him a bag of gummy dicks. And that's the truth. That is the truth. I am not kidding you. And they even addressed it, DNC. They didn't even try to hide that shit. I mean, not DNC, but the freaking the Democratic Party in Georgia. That they sent him gummy dicks. Like, I'm not playing. Like, it's incredible. Like, and then people say all the time, you know, oh, Republicans. Well, you know what? At least they're unabashedly assholes. Like, they admit they're assholes. They admit they don't care. Well, Democrats, establishment Democrats, not people, but the people, the actual politicians, they act like they care and they don't, which to me is even more dangerous because people do fall for it and they vote for these people and they end up voting against their best interests all the time. I had another guy, candidate, Ryan Ross from Florida, beautiful person. I adore him. He he's a school teacher. He's amazing. He's a single father. He's just a really caring, really awesome guy who was running for all the right reasons. And they literally, the Dem party in his area, which, by the way, is Debbie Wasserman Schultz County, true story, actually got a spoiler to enter the race to hurt his votes. And it worked, unfortunately. And we've seen that happen in numerous places where all of a sudden somebody turns up. Like, look at the dude who beat out Abdul. What? Like, he came out of nowhere, like absolutely out of nowhere. And he's just total establishment, and he beat Abdul when Abdul was blowing up. He has support like crazy. But it's crazy. Like, too many people, and I was like this before, Bernie exposed me he gave me that free education. People still have that theory that as long as you have a D next to your name, you're okay. You are absolved of anything, that basically anything you could be accused of is, but the Republicans, no, how about we actually have people answer for their actions and their words and ignore the party they're in, because that's irrelevant to me. And it should be to anyone else. This whole, but the Republicans, the DCCC, which is kind of like the ugly stepchild to the DNC, came out with mailers. And I've registered independent forever ago, and I still get that shit. I don't know why, but I usually just write my thoughts and send it back. But anyway, they came out with a new saying, and you can look this up. It is 100% true. Their new slogan is, have you seen the other guys? That's their slogan. True story. That's what we've come to. We're literally saying we're shit, but they're shittier. That's how it is. And people fall for it. They're okay with it. Because it's... John, you're so right. The D stands for bag of dicks. Actually, well, okay, never mind. I won't go there. But yeah, it's true. The way people are so comfortable is scary, because it is not like, if you don't stand up for what's right now, I don't think you ever will. This is the lowest of the low that many of us have ever been in. I'm only 39. I've never seen anything like this. Depression's at an all-time high, suicide's at an all-time high, medications at an all-time high, opioids at an all-time high. People are depressed, people are defeated, people are hurting. So many people are hurting. And they are still that defeated that they don't want to vote. And I can't blame them, because when people say, what's the point in voting? They don't count it. And I've asked every single one of my 90-something candidates this exact question. What do you say to people who actually, who feel defeated and say, well, my vote's not going to count anyway. What is your message to them? And I've asked every single candidate, because it's so important to not just tell people vote, vote, vote. No, encourage them to make them actually want to. I mean, I look at examples like I had this Bernie delegate on, and she was freaking awesome. She was so kick-ass. And, she's so kick-ass that she literally went up to Mansion, whatever the hell his name is, and in West Virginia, and she said, I want you to sign this paper that says that you will never cast your superdelegate vote before the convention again. And he signed it. That's how powerful this woman is. She's kick-ass, and she's still kick-ass. She's still fighting. She lost by 52 votes. That hurts. That sucks. 52 people could have gotten off their ass and voted. 52 people. When Bernie ran for mayor, he won by 5 votes. In 2016, Bernie won a delegate with 1 vote. It happens, and I understand where the defeat comes in. I felt it many times, but we can't roll over. We can't. I don't have kids, grandkids, anything like that, but I can tell you, the future generation will look back at us and be like, what did you do when this insane time was going on? What did you do? Were you a slacktivist on Facebook all the time? Or did you get out and march? Or did you, volunteer or work at a nonprofit? What did you do? And it's important that we're comfortable with our answer. I know so many of you are, because you're freaking awesome. I've just learned so much. I mean, I could ramble forever, but I know that's not really interesting to anyone but me. But I think I am honored that I've gotten to interview so many candidates, and had a connection with so many of them. I am still out on medical hiatus. I felt the real strong need to do the show, with this week being the last primaries. It's kind of sad for me, because it's been such a huge part of my life. But in November we have a general, and something I'm always pushing is, let's not focus on 2020. Let's focus on 2018. The second those generals are over, you're going to see freaking Kamala and Joe Biden and all the establishment twats coming out and saying they're running. So I'm just going to ignore that for now, and focus on 2018. We have maybe not as many as we wanted, but we do have some badass candidates who made it through to the general. And we have less than 2 months to prop them up and promote them, and, phone bank or, canvas, do anything we can to get them in. Because on the note of 2020, people keep focusing on that. But the fact of the matter is, if we don't get some of these real progressives in there now, we're not getting anyone good in 2020. They didn't let it happen last term. They're not going to let it happen now. The more people we have in there who actually, represent us, the more of a chance we'll actually have to get someone good in 2020. This is almost more important. It certainly is more important now. So please keep that in mind. This is this is definitely going to be an interesting 2 months. So I am still on medical hiatus. I have my first surgery next week. I'm hoping to be back like by beginning of October, because I really want to start banging some of these interviews out for the general. I have a list a mile long of candidates I've interviewed who have won, who I want back, or candidates who have reached out to me who want to come on, or viewer suggestions or what have you. I just have a long list of, people I want on. So I want to get better as soon as possible. And then, because it's too important. This has been just way too much of my life to, put on hold more. These past 2 weeks, I have been like jonesing for a show. I'm like, what if I don't remember how to be savage anymore? This sucks. But again, thank you so much to all who have supported me and sent me beautiful messages and such kindness. I'm still kicking. I'm still fighting. I will also, before we get off the air, I did want to just remind you, tomorrow is New Hampshire. District 1 is all of New Hampshire. But if you're in District 1, please vote for Levy Sanders. Please, 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 please. And you can look up his, the exclusive I did with him on Real Progressives. It's on there. And Thursday, just please don't vote for Cuomo, like ever, ever. And Zephyr Teach Out, please, if you're, please vote for Zephyr. She's kick-ass. Certainly it'd be nice to have Cynthia, especially over Cuomo. Actually, I'd probably take that bag of gummy dicks over Cuomo, actually. So also, I wanted to say that, for 3 months, I've had a trip planned. I've had train tickets and B&B booked, everything for 3 months, and to go to Burlington, Vermont. I've never been there, and of course, it's where my man is senator and where he's lived for 40 years, and and I've been planning this, and then I got really sick, and I said, should I even still go? What should I do? And then I was like, yeah, I'm great. I'm still gonna go. So I'll be taking a 13-hour train ride on Friday from Pennsylvania to Vermont. But Saturday, I am going to be, I organized something from out of state, which was not easy. And, especially because I've never been to Vermont and really don't know anything much about it. But I somehow was fortunate enough to organize an event. So Saturday, I will be live streaming from 6:30 to 8:30. I'm going to be having 8 speakers and a band. All people in Vermont who have been inspired by Bernie, I have a couple candidates. I have the Lieutenant Governor of Vermont, who I had on my show, who's awesome. I have a gentleman who's promoting his brand new book about corruption in the political system. I have, oh God, my mom went blank, but the band that's playing too is going to be doing all of Bernie's, songs that he always plays at his rallies, like Beatles and things like that. So then that's exciting, because the place where we're having it, I called a million places and they all wanted money. And I'm like, dude, we're basement dwellers. We have no money. This isn't going to work. So I finally contact this place, and the guy is so nice and loved what we were doing so much that he waived the fee to rent it out. So he's donating the venue to us for 2 hours so we can have these amazing speakers and have this, this meet and greet of love and hope. And I just got goosebumps. I'm so excited. But anyway, but even more exciting, the next day, I am going to Bernie's birthday party, like Bernie, his actual birthday party. I don't know how I was lucky enough to get a ticket. I've tried for 3 years, but there's going to be 150 of us, and Jane and Bernie and everyone on a boat, with birthday cake and a band. And so I'm kind of flipping out about that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the weekend. So I'll be streaming Bernie's speech at his birthday party, and probably him dancing because it's just adorably horrible. And Saturday I'll be streaming from 6:30 to 8:30 Eastern. So that's very. Oh, okay. So Violet asked what I'm giving for his gift. It's so bad. If you go to my Facebook, you can see it. We have this thing called by us called Color Me Mine, and you can like buy these pottery pieces and paint it yourself. And I did the us not me thing, and it is so bad. Everyone's telling me it's good. I think because they feel bad. I when I posted it, I said, I really, really, really hope he doesn't disown me as a supporter after I give him this. Then I said, I want to lie and say, I have a 12-year-old daughter and she's the one who made it because it's so bad. But everyone's telling me just do it. And so I'm like, okay, well, okay. So maybe he'll just feel bad that it's so awful and give me a better hug. Who knows? But yeah, so Saturday night, tune in 6:30 to 8:30. A lot of awesome speakers. And Sunday, between 5 and 9, off and on, at Bernie's birthday party. Again, thank you so much, you guys. Like, I absolutely adore the viewers we have. I couldn't ask for more involved and more amazing and more supportive people. You guys you just do my heart well. You really do. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys on Saturday. Take care. Much love.